This is the Middle of Nowhere Gaming Podcast.
Welcome into episode 35 of the Middle of Nowhere Gaming Podcast. I am your host, Courtney Osborne. Yeah. And today I have with me my Nintendo Ninja, Lou.
Don't say that.
What? Why not?
No, you put a picture on Facebook. You were saying you're the ninja.
No.
So I don't want to be called a ninja anymore. I don't want you copying my thing.
There's a difference. You're a Nintendo Ninja. I am just a ninja. So, yeah.
All ninjas are Japanese, so they should all be Nintendo ninjas.
Well, then I'll be a Sony
I'm
Ninja.
petitioning it.
Motherfuck. I'm a Sony Ninja then. So there. And also,
why not Sony Samurai?
So there's a good one. But the picture was ninja because I was being sneaky. Like that's why I said I was a ninja. But
Samurais aren't sneaky?
I don't think so. I think they're just like bamfs. They just walk around with their sword and hit stuff.
All right, let's move on.
Also, we have with us today the Weatherman, huh? Yeah, Kyle.
What's up? I knew that was gonna be the nickname.
Yeah. Again, you will remember Kyle from was it episode 30 or 31?
Yeah, one of those two. I think episode 30.
I believe it was 30. So it's been about a month or whatever.
Heck yeah.
One of the fans, one of the locals from Kansas or in Kansas or whatever, one of the frequent commenters on the Podcast Beyond page on Facebook.
That's right.
Yeah. So before we get rolling, we have some things to talk about. One of them is that we have a shitload of content going up on YouTube right now. You've probably seen us posting about it everywhere, but we have Let's Plays for Wolfenstein: The New Order, Watch Dogs, and Drakengard 3, and Portal 2. So go and check all of those out because I've put a lot of work into putting all those up. It's sucked up just about all my free time. So go check those out. Leave us some comments and all that good stuff. We appreciate it once again, like always.
No, don't check them out. I mean, Courtney would probably cry if you didn't, so that'd be fun to see.
That's not very nice. Lou, you want to walk them through the next one?
Okay, yeah, sure. Next thing is we've implemented a new review scale. Instead of doing the 20-point review scale that we've been doing since we've started, which is 10, 9.5, 9, 8.5, etc., we're doing a 100-point review scale like IGN or like many other big name review sources. That way we could differentiate between what's an 8.6 and an 8.8. Or want to go check that out, go to our website and check the About Us section. And we give you a full detail of what each review is going to mean, what each score is going to mean, and how we go about actually reviewing and picking who reviews a game and this and that. Go look at it.
It's been a long time coming. We've been working on that forever. So I'm glad we finally have that out. We have it out just in time for Watch Dogs and Mario Kart. So that's kind of exciting.
Doesn't matter. Mario Kart's getting a 10.
Oh, shit. Spoilers!
Seriously, it's a great game. We'll talk about that later. Well, actually, we're talking about that on the next thing that we're talking about.
Speaking of which, we have been discussing the possibility of adding a new podcast to the website for several months, and we have some ideas, and one of them is actually going into play this weekend. So you can expect next week for the first episode of it to come out, and it's called QuickTime Event, and it is going to be a short podcast. It's going to be about 15 minutes long, and what it is it's going to take the place of our topic of the week on this podcast.
We haven't done.
Which, yeah, we've skipped it for like a month, so this is kind of why this is coming into play. But yeah. So, QuickTime Event will be something, it'll be topical, kind of like Game Scoop on IGN. We're going to have most likely 2, 3, or 4 of the Middle of Nowhere Gaming members on the podcast each week. We're going to do it twice a week, so it'll be once on Monday and once on Friday. And so you can check those out. Like I said, they're just going to be like short 15-minute conversations about a topic. We're actually going to have a timer going while we're doing it so that we don't go over 15 minutes for the actual topic. So it's going to be like we're racing through it. We have to get it done or whatever. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to see how it works. We might adjust it over time depending on how it goes or whatever. But we appreciate it if you guys check all that out. This podcast, 35, episode 35, will be going up today on Friday. So you'll hear this, and then you could look out for QuickTime Event on Monday. And then along with QuickTime Event, we are changing up the actual schedule of the podcast. And so you will find QuickTime Event on Monday. You'll find the MONG podcast on Wednesdays now instead of Thursdays. And then you'll find the second QuickTime Event each week on Fridays. So that will be 3 podcasts every week that you could find from us. And I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
It's something we've been thinking about for a while, at least adding new podcasts.
Yep.
And it might not be the only new podcast, so keep your ears out.
Yeah, we have another big idea in mind that hopefully, if we can work out all the details, will be coming soon.
And that one will be very interesting. It'll be way different than what we already do.
Yeah.
Way closer to the stuff that Courtney streams.
Yeah, a lot more like that. That's a good connection. I didn't think about that. Okay, so let's move into the news from nowhere. Lou, you want to kick us off with number 1?
Yeah, sure thing. Number 1, Nintendo will supposedly be using NFC communication for Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U. For those who aren't sure what the NFC communication is, near field. Yeah, it is. I'm saying ATM machine. It's near field communication. What that is if anyone's seen the Wii U controller, that little square box in the bottom left we haven't used yet, it's the same thing that they use for Skylanders or Disney Infinity, where Nintendo is planning on putting out character statues of Mario that you can use and put into a game somehow. They really haven't said how, but supposedly they're going to be using it for Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U. This comes from the general director of Nintendo France, Stéphane Bollet, maybe? I don't know, he's French. And he said in a large rant of what's coming up in Wii U's future, he said the NFC will be used in the Wii U version of Super Smash Bros. And that it will be playable and announced at E3. It's no problem.
Go on.
I'm not exactly sure how I feel about this.
I don't exactly understand it all since I don't have a Wii U. So,
do you know what Skylanders is?
Oh yeah, I know the little toy things, but I don't know how the game actually works. All
right, so imagine this. You have Super Smash Bros. And you have your characters. Let's say you have 20, 25 characters. Then they say you can unlock a new character by buying this small... I don't know who they would put in there, but we could say...
Nintendo Ninja.
Yeah, we'll put in if Samus wasn't in it, we'll put in a Samus stat. You could get a Samus statue, put it on, and you could have a new character. It's like DLC, kind of.
Okay.
Except you get to keep a small statue.
And you don't know how you feel about this?
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. I would love to have these statues. Maybe it's the issue that I know I'm going to go out there and buy every single one of them because I would. Or maybe it's an issue that I don't like that it's split up into multiple packages. I kind of like the idea of Nintendo games being given to you in one package. You buy. They're one of the very few developers that I'm pretty sure I could buy a game and not have to worry about DLC or incoming patches or this and that. I feel like when I get a Nintendo game, it comes as one package.
Okay. Now, Kyle, would you buy something like this for a game? Like, I don't know, if you had a Wii U?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not negative to the idea, but I think it's a cute idea. And by cute, I mean almost kind of childish, I guess, without sounding too condescending about it, because it is a very Skylanders thing to do. I remember, what was it, Rayman Legends, when that was way back in the day, supposed to be a Wii U exclusive, they showed, like, the Wii U gamepad, and you could buy this little, like, I don't know, it was like a little heart thing or whatever, and you can put it on the Wii U gamepad, and I think it used the same technology, and all of a sudden, this is in like a demo or a commercial, the hearts would start popping up on the screen and stuff, and that's cool. I guess it's probably even cooler if you have friends locally that play it with you.
Yeah.
But I guess it's cooler than regular DLC if you get to keep a little statue. It's pretty neat, but...
Yeah, I guess that's pretty cool.
I mean,
yeah.
I could see it appealing to the younger gamers way
That's
more.
what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think there's cooler ways to implement this than just that, though. I was listening to Nintendo Voice Chat on IGN, and they came up with an idea of what happens if they made a Mario statue, but one for each different game, and they were all different. Like Super Mario World, you have a cape. Super Mario, the original Mario Bros. You see them in just like a kind of 8-bit plumber, and you put it on, and it's like you buy one of the Virtual Console games for $8, except you get the statue with it.
Okay.
So you just put it on your Wii U, and then suddenly you have the game, but you also keep the statue.
That's kind of cool.
Be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cool things they could do with it, and I'm not sure if this is how I want it, but I know that I will buy every single one of them.
Yeah, I can
That's
definitely
the thing,
see you
yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
Having a shelf dedicated to all of your characters.
The only thing worse would be if they made a Pokemon game, which they did make a Pokemon game for it, but if they made like a real, actual, RPG Pokemon game, I would buy every single one of them, and I'd be desperate and alone, and yeah.
I'm right there with you, though, so don't worry.
Right.
Moving
All right,
on.
Move on.
Okay, number 2. Ready at Dawn has announced that the Order 1886 will be delayed until 2015. Let's see. They said, as we look to bring this experience to the players, we have decided to spend some extra time to deliver on the promise we made when we first introduced the game. As such, you can expect the Order 1886 to come exclusively to PlayStation 4 in early 2015. Yes, I was right. And apparently so was Kyle. Now, when I say I was right, if you guys will remember, if you've been listening that long, back on it was episode 15 or something, maybe. It was back in the end of December or the beginning of January when when we made predictions for this year, and one of my predictions was that the Order 1886 was going to be delayed until 2015, and that was at the time when there were very few people saying that, so that's why I feel so proud about this. There were the one person I heard say it the most would be Colin Moriarty, but that I didn't get mine off of his because he hadn't been talking about it. He just said that he didn't know if it was going to come out in 2014, and so that's when I stood strong with it. I was just like, yeah, it's not coming out in 2014. It's coming out in 2015 because we hadn't seen anything on it at that time. So this doesn't surprise me.
Right, that was before the really bad demo, right?
Yep, that was before Colin got to go see the demo. So that I think I need to go back and listen to my prediction, but I think my reasoning for it was that we hadn't heard anything about it in 4 or 5 months since Gamescom or whatever it was. I was like, we've literally heard nothing about it. I was just like, there's no way it's coming this year. But,
yeah, Courtney, my prediction for that is kind of two-pronged. I can't remember now what Sony said or what Ready at Dawn said, if it was coming in 2014 or fall of 2014, but they made it seem like it was coming the second half of this year originally.
Yeah.
And so last August, September, October passed by, and it's like we still haven't heard anything about the game. So then that started raising questions for me because, again, maybe apples to oranges, but I think it's a little bit closer than that. 2 E3s ago, there was a playable demo of The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. And that was 1 whole year, 12 months, before that game ended up coming out. Now, yes, it was delayed by a month because it was supposed to come out in May of 2013. But not knowing of a big, huge Sony AAA exclusive not being playable, or at least any gameplay scene of it, is really unheard of because Sony likes to basically preview the shit out of their games and for 6+ months out. And so that was very concerning to me that last fall came and went and we didn't hear anything about the Order. And the second part of it is that February press event comes, everyone puts that stuff on YouTube, and that game just simply did not run well.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it's not surprising in the least to see this be delayed, but at the same time, like we've said repeatedly on this podcast, is that's totally fine that it's being delayed.
It's a good thing. Good thing.
The Order looks like it's going to be an awesome game, and if they need to take an extra 6 months or so to make it a good game, then do that. We want this game to be awesome because it's supposed to be the big PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Exactly. What do you guys think about at E3 this year? Are they going to show more playable stuff? They're going to finally show the baddies? You think they'll show some more of that?
Okay, so they just showed off that 2-minute demo or something a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
That may have been what they wanted to show at E3, but at the same time, that could have just been a tease for E3.
Right, that's what I think too.
We could see an extended version of that or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not exactly sure. Just because they dropped so many of those indies that are eventually coming out, I think that they're going to have a really packed E3. And hopefully this does make an appearance, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if they went the entire time and didn't talk about it just because they had so much new stuff to talk about.
See, that's my other point, is that maybe Sony's going to take the route that Microsoft has been taking the past month or whatever, and just go all new stuff at E3 and just be like, okay, so about the Order, about all this, about all that. We don't need to spend time on it. Here's what we have coming next year or whatever that you have no idea about, because there are 16 or something first-party studios for Sony. And we literally know what, maybe 2 or 3 of them are doing. We have no idea what most of them are doing.
Yeah, they're going to be like, here's Sony Ben's game, and here's Media Molecule's game, and da-da-da-da.
Here's Guerrilla's game.
Exactly.
I'm so excited to see this press conference. But yeah, so they may not even show any games we know.
Sure.
Right. Speaking
of games we know or know nothing about, huh?
Yeah.
Kyle, you want to cover this one?
Sure. So Battlefield Hardline, which, by the way, I've never played a Battlefield game in my life.
Me either.
Announced for fall of 2014. This originally leaked in EA's update information via Battlelog, but the game was confirmed the same day on their website. So instead of targeting a traditional war field like all of the Battlefield games have ever been, the game will focus on war against police and criminals. And from the stuff that I've seen, it's kind of in a modern-day setting. At least that's what it looks like to me. More details will be released at E3's press conference this year.
Yeah, right. I heard that it's going to be episodic content. Did you guys hear that?
I didn't see that.
I know that a trailer came out. I'm not sure if it was in it. I kind of glazed over that.
So did I, because I don't like Battlefield. So
this really interested me, and this is weird because I think this is the first year ever I'm actually super interested in a Call of Duty and a Battlefield. But I like the idea that it's not on a war field. It's not.
Sorry, you know why you're interested in Battlefield and Call of Duty this year?
Why?
Because it's not made by the original developers, either one of them.
Probably.
Battlefield Hardline is Visceral Games, and Call of Duty is
Sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer, yeah. Neither of them are original developers of the series, and so the two games are different. It's like, oh my god, this actually looks kind of cool. So sorry, I had to interrupt you with that because that's what I'm actually interested also.
Wait, do you guys think in Battlefield Hardline you'll have a plasma cutter? Huh?
I like it. But no, yeah, I heard that Battlefield Hardline was going to be episodic content, and the other thing I saw was that Balls, who's the original developer of Battlefield? It's slipping my mind.
I have no clue.
DICE.
DICE. Is it DICE?
Oh.
Yeah. Whoever it was, I don't even remember, came out and said that just because Hardline's coming out this year doesn't mean they're going to stop, doesn't mean they're going to stop supporting Battlefield 4. So that they're going to
I thought they already did.
Yeah.
Before launch.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's what was announced yesterday or the day before. So that's interesting. Don't really care too much, but it'll be interesting to see how it ends up being.
Right. I like the idea of, not having two enemy nations being, just a group in one nation, the police and the criminals. I like the idea. I think it's a different take, and I may possibly buy it depending on how disposable my income is at the time.
Yeah, if it's coming out this fall, we may not have a whole lot of disposable income with all the other games that are also coming. It's going to be like starting in October. Starting in October until the end of March, we're going to be so broke with all the games that are coming out. Oh man,
it's just insane. I've been telling people, Ubisoft, take all my money because I'm going to be buying both of the Assassin's Creed games and Far Cry 4 and The Division whenever that comes out early next year. And hey, Rocksteady, you can have some money too.
Yeah, Batman, and then I'm going to be getting The Witcher 3.
Yes, there's that as well.
And it's just like, and then Destiny comes out in September. I forgot about that.
Crazy.
And then the Lord of the Rings games comes out in October, and then oh my god,
we need to start putting out for review copies.
Well, more so than we already do. Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
That's definitely something we need to do. Okay, so Lou, you want to get the next one, or you want me to?
Sure. Bethesda has delayed The Evil Within, and they've also announced a pre-order bonus.
Some good, some bad.
I know, that's the strategy. While the I don't know why I put while. Anyway, the game's gonna be released on October 21st in North America, October 23rd in Australia, and October 24th in Europe. They're really pushing the Halloween thing,
which is that's actually only like a 2-month delay, something like that.
Yeah, it's not a big delay. From what I hear about the game, it needs much more than 2 months.
Oh yeah, I've heard the same thing.
Let's see, what else? Shinji Mikami and the team at Tango Gameworks have asked for additional time to further balance and refine the game in order to deliver the polished, terrifying, pure survival horror experience that they set to create. The pre-order bonus is going to include the Fighting Chance Pack, which is a medical kit, some green gel, double-barrel shotgun and 3 shells, and an incendiary agony bolt, and a poison agony bolt. They all have descriptions, but none of it's really substantial. It's not like they're adding story modes or anything.
Just stuff to help you survive.
Yeah.
Which is good.
It's good, but it's, just adding guns to a game with guns.
Yep. Exactly.
And adding some green gel just because.
Yeah, everybody needs green gel. Come on now. Like I've got cabinets full of green gel. I'm all about the green gel, guys.
So Kyle, what do you think about The Evil Within?
All right, so I got to tell you guys this. Growing up, I was the biggest baby ever. In fact, I hated Halloween, like worst holiday ever. Then, I went to college and Halloween was like the best holiday ever. Underage drinking, right? No. And so I've been playing more and more survival horror games. And actually, I really, really love what Visceral Games did with the Dead Space franchise, specifically Dead Space 1 and 2. And I really enjoy those games a lot. Very atmospheric, very heavy on the lighting and really the storytelling told by the atmosphere around you. I've seen stuff on The Evil Within, and not taking anything away from Mikami because, he's the godfather of Resident Evil or Resident Evil 4 or whatever. But the game looks really bad. It looks, at least from what I've seen, looks really bad. The textures are horrible. The character model looks ridiculously bad. And anyone that's gone to any of the events for The Evil Within, I just heard Greg Miller talking about this, like, the demo they played, and again, sometimes games don't demo well. We get that, and it was just delayed. But I guess you're walking through this like corridor, and like the walls are closing in on you, and your character like doesn't even say anything. Like he's just on his way. I hope I don't get scared. So it's just kind of weird. Greg Miller described it as being a weird experience. Although we'll all reserve judgment until it's out and we play it.
Yeah.
But a return to survival horror as the original Dead Space did is still exciting, still very exciting. So
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I grew up like scared to death of anything horror related, But I mean, I liked Halloween, but I would get scared so easily watching movies and stuff like that. But the difference is I grew up playing the Resident Evil games. Mm-hmm. But I could only play them with my friends. I would never play it alone. Fuck that. And so like that's all I played until, God, it wasn't until like a year or two ago when I actually started picking up more horror games. And then that, I played through the BioShock series. I played through Dead Space series. I played through more Resident Evil games. I played through The Last of Us. I played through like all of these games that had horror in them that I never thought I would play. And now I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan. And so like when The Evil Within was announced, I was so excited for it. So excited because like the trailer scared the shit out of me. But now that I've seen all of this horrible news about it, horrible like demos and things like that, it's like I'm really depressed about this game now. I'm not excited anymore.
And guys, let me tell you, Courtney loves horror so much that he gets drunk and plays Outlast and its DLC.
That's true.
And streams it live.
That's true. That's another one. Outlast may very well be the scariest game I've ever played. Like
Outlast is terrifying. I can't even like. I didn't even get to a jump scare. I like put on the night vision, and I was like, no, can't do it.
Like,
Nothing happened. It was just a room. I was just like, I can't do this. If this is what this game's gonna look like.
No, dude, I'm same boat. When I first started playing Outlast, that's the same thing I did. I got to that like right inside the building or whatever, and I was like, nope, not playing this anymore. I didn't even get to a jump scare yet. I was like, I can't take this. Like the music and the way everything looked, not having it. It took me getting drunk to actually play it, so.
Right, and it's less of a thing where I'm scared for myself. I'm just worried that I'm going to throw the controller through the TV because I have a terrible habit of chucking things when I'm scared.
Oh, man.
Okay, so let's move on.
Okay.
Who would go? Me? You? Who?
I'll segue it.
All right.
Speaking of really scary creatures, we have some zombie news for you.
That's actually skipping one, but
Damn it.
you can go ahead, roll into it.
Wait, no, it's not.
We
I'm
didn't-
here right now.
Oh, well, I guess that's zombie, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking, look at the next one, so that's also zombies.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was setting you up for an eventual segue into that again.
I see what you're doing. So sorry. Number 5, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is coming to PlayStation consoles this summer. PopCap Games has officially announced that it will be coming on August 19th for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 in North America, and then August 21st in Europe, and then August 22nd in the UK. I don't get why they're doing a day later in the UK than Europe. Like, what the fuck?
Localization. Those plants need to speak different things.
For a day.
Yeah.
An entire day. They need that extra time. I don't know. Strange. I'm totally down with this. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I
Big time.
saw when this game was announced, I was like, oh, hell yeah, I totally want to play that. But then it was Xbox exclusive, and that was really disappointing. So I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I'm not a big Plants vs. Zombies fan, but the Garden Warfare take on it, that looks exciting. That looks fun.
It's so funny because it's so quirky and stuff, right? But I heard the gameplay is just impeccable, and it plays like a dream, and it's a third-person shooter that's competitive online. Like, that's awesome. That's so cool.
And
I'm just really excited and surprised about how quickly it took for all of these exclusive things to just fade away.
yeah, I mean,
We have this. We have the Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah,
they got rid of the exclusive stuff.
the exclusive content or whatever for it.
Yeah. We're not going to see Infamous poured over to the Xbox One or anything, but a lot of these things that were announced with the system as it's going to be exclusive are just kind of shifting away from it.
Well, I mean, you know why? Like, it's pretty obvious when there's not very many consoles, especially like Xbox. There's not as many Xbox consoles out there, and so Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare didn't sell extremely well on Xbox One, and so in order to sell better, why not also put it on PlayStation? So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, studios like PopCap Games, and I mean, even when you think of Titanfall, that's a bit of a different example, only because Microsoft bought the outright exclusive rights to it.
Yeah.
But like, they're smart enough also to be, okay, give us some money for a timed exclusive, but we do know we're coming to all of the consoles, just so that we can sell more games.
yeah, it makes financial sense to do that.
Exactly. Yep.
Were you gonna say something, Lou?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, who wants to cover the next one? Speaking of zombies, huh? Kyle?
All right, let's do it. The Walking Dead Season 1 and 2 and The Wolf Among Us will be coming not only to PS4, but Xbox One later this year. On the same post, Telltale also announced that The Walking Dead Season 2 and The Wolf Among Us will be released at retail, that is discs, on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Buy all of them. Buy every version if you like Platinum Trophies. Get them all. They're awesome. And let the haters hate, but The Walking Dead Season 2 might just be better than the original Walking Dead season.
Don't spoil anything.
I've only played the first episode, so like I'm super stoked to play on.
Just saying.
But The Wolf Among Us is fantastic.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. And a lot like we were just talking about with Plants vs. Zombies, this makes total sense for Telltale to do. Bring it to every single console, and then also put it out on physical discs, because you need to make more money, and this will make them a shitload of money.
My question is, are they going to be adding a Platinum Trophy to The Wolf Among Us?
I don't see why they wouldn't. You know,
is that going to carry over to the downloads though, to the digital download people?
I don't know why it wouldn't. Again, it's something that I think that they'll probably update when episode 5 goes up.
Hopefully.
They'll probably patch that in or something like that, because a lot like the previous season for The Walking Dead for season 1 or whatever, you couldn't see the trophies for the following episodes until that episode came out, you know? And so that may end up being the case where they just add it in when they put out the final episode.
Actually, in fact, guys, I just quickly looked at my my trophy list, and with the last one, they actually do have a Platinum Trophy. It's called Full Moon.
See?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there we
go. Earn every trophy in every episode of The Wolf Among Us. Yep.
So yeah, I didn't think there would be any way they would skip that. That would just be silly. They get a lot of negative feedback for that.
Very cool.
PlayStation gamers are very vocal
about their trophies.
About the trophies.
About the trophies.
The important things.
So next one, number 7. Who?
Sure, I'll do it. Quantum Break has officially been delayed until 2015. Remedy Entertainment's Sam Lake revealed the new release window, as well as announced that Quantum Break will not be shown at E3. Instead, the game will make an appearance at Gamescom in August. The announcement was made in a video. Go check out the article, which also includes gameplay footage and information about the Quantum Break TV series tie-in.
So, this doesn't surprise me. Again, delays.
We're so smart about everything video games. Nothing's a surprise.
Well, delays just don't surprise me anymore.
You expect them.
Yeah, you have to expect them, especially right now. Like, I believe I said it on the last episode of the podcast where Microsoft and Sony were literally breathing down all of these developers' necks and being like, hey, get this game out either at release or within the first year so that our console will look badass and we can post your trailers everywhere and everybody will be super excited about it and all that stuff. And so these developers worked their ass off to try and do that. But, you know, as time went on, it got too hard to end up finishing off the game and they had to delay it. So, like, that's I guarantee you that's what's happening with all of these games.
I'm still putting my money on it being a conspiracy.
A conspiracy?
That they're making it a permanent part of every developing cycle.
And see, this is another thing I think I mentioned last week as well. Well, maybe I didn't mention it last week. I mentioned it somewhere. But, I think it was when Halo was announced, Halo 5 Guardians.
Yep.
It was originally the trailer at E3 last year said 2014 for Halo, the next Halo or whatever. That trailer was not for the Halo collection or anything like that. That trailer was for Halo 5. And so now Halo came out and announced that, you know, it's going to be 2015 when Halo 5 Guardians comes out. That is as sly and stealthy of a delay as I've ever seen because no one has talked about it. No one has said that Halo's delayed, and it is delayed.
You're talking about it right now.
I'm the one that has been harping about it to everyone, been like, hey, Halo's delayed. That was supposed to be the big game this fall for Microsoft, and it's not there anymore. Why is no one talking about it? Why is it all Sony's delaying everything? Sony's going to lose this fall because they're missing out on the order, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, Halo was delayed, and nobody's talking about it, and now Quantum Break is delayed. So that's two major Xbox One exclusive games this fall that are now delayed until the following year. And so it's I don't know. It's one of those things that I'm getting upset with people who don't look at the entire picture, the entire industry and things like that when they talk about it.
You want to know why?
because they're fanboys.
They're only talking about Sony because it's coming out on the Delay Station 4.
The Delay Station 4. Courtney, I have something to add to this Quantum Break thing.
Go ahead.
I think it lets us all in, if you read between the lines, which isn't really hard to do with this one, behind the curtain of what Microsoft has planned for E3. Now, we're going to know a lot more like next Monday, obviously.
Yeah.
But for the time being, Quantum Break is not going to be shown at E3. Right?
Nope.
They've been very vocal that Gears of War is only 100 plus days into development.
Yep.
Halo 5 will be shown, but I do believe, I think I read somewhere that they don't have gameplay to show.
Probably.
And previews just hit for Sunset Overdrive a couple weeks ago. Yet Phil Spencer promises games. And now I don't think the world of Phil Spencer, but guess what? He's making a lot of great decisions since he's taken over for the Xbox division. And I think Microsoft is going to have a bunch of games at E3. And I don't want to make a prediction here, but I do think that there's going to be a lot of surprises, much along the same lines as no one saw Titanfall coming last year. No one saw Sunset Overdrive or Quantum Break or even Halo. I guess maybe people saw Halo coming. But I think with these games kind of missing or MIA, or we kind of know the statuses now of them, which is going to be 2015, it'd be very interesting. So,
yeah, no, I am I am so excited for E3.
It's going to be crazy. They're going to duke it out heavyweight style. It's going to be insane.
Oh man, so are Sony and Microsoft's press conferences both on Monday?
Yeah, Microsoft is first, and then Sony's is the nightcap, and in between is both Ubisoft and EA.
Oh my god, that's going to be a great day.
Yeah, I actually took off of work all week just so I can like tweet and watch this stuff, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to take off work on that Monday probably. So,
but yeah, I don't know about you guys. I just think it's super interesting that they're like, yeah, by the way, we're not even showing Quantum Break at E3.
Yeah, we're skipping it, and we're going to show it at Gamescom.
Exactly. So I wonder what that means. We'll find out, but it's something to think about. It's pretty interesting.
And if I think I'm correct, and Remedy is actually a European studio, isn't it?
I believe they are, yeah.
And so that honestly makes more sense for Gamescom, especially since Gamescom is becoming huge. Like, it's so much bigger than it was a few years ago. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, I mean, people in the industry are even saying that Gamescom's the new E3.
It is.
So.
And E3 is becoming less and less...
right.
Whatever, fucking, I don't even know. Like, what it was, Cliff Bleszinski last night was tweeting about it, about all the demos and stuff like that, and trailers at E3, and how pointless it is to do that anymore, because E3 is like the Walmart audience, as he was putting it, and
sure.
they're trying to sell retail copies to people at Walmart, and they should go to a different show, or not show anything at things like E3. Just put out their own press releases, because the people who care or whatever will find it, and things like that. I don't know.
It's interesting.
It's interesting to see where the industry is going and how announcements are being done now. It's almost like people get more excited about an announcement in the middle of the week than they do at a big press conference anymore.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I'd take stock in Cliff being the voice of the industry, though. He's
no.
out there.
No, but that being said, Cliff is not the only one who's talked about it. I've heard several people talk about how insignificant E3 is now. It's just not the same anymore. It was better back in 2006, whenever the next-gen consoles came out or whatever, PS3 and Xbox 360. But
but I think they also tried limiting it, and they went a couple of years when they didn't allow the general public. It was just press and people from the industry and this and that, and it was awful. They ended that real quick.
No, and I don't mean that E3 should be gone or anything like that. E3 should be here to stay. But the way they go about doing things at E3 may have to change.
Right. Like how Nintendo's changed it.
Yep, could be. Okay, so moving on. Number 8. Valve has announced that the Steam Machine and controller will be delayed until 2015. Actually, I think it was just a controller that was delayed. But with the controller is supposed to come with every Steam Machine, so it's thought of that the Steam Machine will be delayed as well, if I'm correct. Valve attributes the delay to the continued testing and development of its wireless prototype controllers. According to the Post, testing by both professionals and casual gamers have generated a lot of user feedback that Valve hopes to use to improve upon the controller before its release. So, again, I'm not really a big fan of PC gaming or anything like that. I kind of like the idea about the Steam machine and Steam controller. I don't like the controller. I think it looks stupid, and I don't want to play with it. But I like the idea to be able to play PC games on my TV and stuff like that with a controller, and not have to have it next to my PC and stuff like that. So if they need to take time to make this controller better, just like the delay with games, do it. Don't put out a shitty controller. Don't pull a PS3 Boomerang controller.
Yeah, you want to know what the user feedback was? Hey Valve, I can't even play this game because your controller looks like it's completely backwards. And what the heck are these circle things?
Yeah.
Like what do we do with this?
Do I touch this?
Do I touch this? What do I do?
I can't tell.
Too funny, too hilarious.
Lou?
Next one.
Okay. Well, moving on. Kyle?
Just passing the baton around. Okay, number 9. Sony has announced that they will be bringing the PS4 to China. China recently lifted their foreign video game console ban that actually lasted 14 years. Sony plans to team up with a Chinese company called Shanghai Oriental Pearl Cultural Development, or for those of you keeping score at home, OPCD, in order to manage local manufacturing as well as sales, licensing, and distribution.
See, now what's interesting about this is that OPCD is owned by the same company who was helping bring the Xbox One to China.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's technically the same company bringing both consoles over there. So, that may not have any effect on anything, but it's just kind of one of those little things that's like, oh, huh, they're almost like working together to do this. I don't know, it's weird.
Someone's making a lot of money.
Yes, probably. Whenever they're actually released over in China, I'm going to be super intrigued to see if it busts or if it just blows up over there and just becomes this huge thing. And because for the last 14 years they've been banned over there. And although there have been workarounds like renaming consoles and stuff like that, the numbers haven't really been brought into the actual lifetime sales numbers and things like that. So 100+ million sales for consoles like the Wii and such stuff like that. Can you imagine if they add China to that?
It'd be insane.
I don't think it'd be that much actually.
So, that's what I'm saying is if it blows up, it could either be a bust or it could blow up. And if it does blow up,
I mean, how China's always been described to me is even though it has a massively different population than the U.S., they explain it as it's essentially the U.S. population with the really high class, middle class, low class, and then an extra 2 billion super low class.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think that it is going to be, there may be a certain spike in the market here or there, but I think that they might not necessarily have the money to go about getting it. I think it might just be another luxury device for them.
Yeah, it could be.
That's why I think Nintendo is really taking a smart approach where they're delivering what I think is a cheaper model or a lower, because at this point the people in China might not necessarily need the latest tech if they haven't been gaming for 14 years.
Yeah.
They might not. This looks pretty. Having a PS4 looks pretty, but if they got a Wii, I mean, that would probably look great for them too.
Now, see, I do agree with you, and I agree that Nintendo is actually making the good move here to make a lower end console and cheaper and stuff like that for them. But using simple math, using just simple numbers and things like that for console sales, when you think about the United States and you think about how many consoles it sells over here and how the United States has been one of the biggest console selling countries in the world, we only have 300 million people in the United States. China has 1.35 billion. That is 4 times more. Even if you're saying a small, minuscule population in China or whatever are the ones that are going to buy this, so that's a few million out of the 1.3 billion. A few million is still a lot of sales. When you think about right now, the PlayStation 4 is sitting at 7 million. If that adds another just 7 million to it, that is a shitload.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Again, just using numbers, using simple numbers, using
that,
simple math.
And it's going to be interesting to see how a new medium attaches in China. I mean, China does have video games. They have
Yeah.
had portable games. They've had the DS for a while, but it's going to be interesting to see how console gaming attaches in a place where it doesn't have that culture of console gaming.
Yeah, okay, so say gaming in general or foreign gaming in general takes off in China, that could change the shape of gaming. Like, it could change how things are made. It could change, like, the style of games that are coming out and things like that, because there's going to be a dedicated Chinese gaming culture, a dedicated Chinese gaming genre. So, like, a lot like JRPGs and fighting games and things like that are huge in Japan. There's going to be a whole nother style that comes out of China that may end up blowing up all over the world. It may end up being super popular. We don't know that yet.
Right. So it's all wait and see.
Yeah, and it's intriguing. Definitely intriguing. So,
all right.
Next
on the news, item 10. Nintendo has announced the Wii U GameCube controller adapter. It was revealed yesterday, or if you're listening to this, probably 2 days ago, in a YouTube video explaining the rules to the Super Smash Bros. Invitational. It's going to plug it into the USB drive, and it'll support 4 controllers. This is contrary to what we had learned previously last week, where they were going to have GameCube controllers, but it was going to plug into the Wii remotes as like an additional adapter, how they kind of used to do the classic controller for the Wii.
Yeah.
The picture also showed off a new GameCube controller with a Smash logo, so supposedly they're going to be selling new GameCube controllers, I would assume. And there really isn't any more information besides that about the price of the adapter, the price of the new GameCube controllers, or when this will be announced, but it will be viewable at E3, at least at the tournament.
So, Kyle, does this sell you on a Wii U?
I really wish it did. I was telling Lou before we started recording that what would sell me on a Wii U is like a $200 deluxe Wii U.
Yeah,
I just think it's a bit overpriced right now. First of all, I never would have thought it'd be 2014 and we're talking about a new GameCube controller coming out. So that's kind of cool to like wrap your mind around.
Yeah, I agree.
I was telling Lou too. Like, I love GameCube. Like, I love GameCube. In fact, it's one of my favorite consoles ever, and a lot of memories tied to it.
Yeah, it sits at number 2 on my list. So
yeah, and honestly, next to the DualShock 4, the GameCube controller is just awesome. Yep. Like. And I get people don't like the C-stick and stuff, but man, your hands are just so perfectly fit into like those concave L and R buttons. Like, it's so awesome. But more peripherals for Nintendo, and it's just like, will people buy this? How many people will buy this?
I think
anyone who's ever played Smash will buy it.
Yeah, it's like
that's what I think. I think people that play Smash will certainly buy it. But I don't know.
See, it's just, this is another one of those things where I think Nintendo's finally getting it. You know, they're finally catching on about all the things that everybody wants. And this is just, because see, if I got a Wii U, there's no way I would not buy this with it. Like, I would have to get this with it because I love the GameCube controller and I hate the Wii Mote or whatever. Like, I wouldn't mind using the gamepad, but even that is going to take a while to get used to. I would much rather just use a Wii or a GameCube controller and play it on my TV screen rather than using the gamepad.
Yeah.
So that's another one. Lou, are you going to grab this?
I'm going to grab... well, you know what? I might not grab... I'm going to get the adapter, definitely. I think I still have 4 controllers sitting around my house, so I might not need a new one. And I really, really love the idea of this because now that you can use GameCube controllers, there might be the option where they're going to start adding GameCube Virtual Console games.
That's awesome. That prospect alone is awesome.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's a good idea.
Right. So that's all I want. That's all I ask for. And I was blown away by the announcement because I thought that the furthest they were going to go was that the Wii remote dongle or whatever. So this is fantastic news, especially because for Smash, wired controllers are so important. Especially if you're playing competitively, like in the pros, but even with my friends, I mean, I will always take the wired controller before the Wavebird.
Okay. So, moving on. The last news of the week, number 11, Watch Dogs has sold more copies in the first 24 hours than any previous Ubisoft title. This was written, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, so it's been a few days since then, so we don't know how the sales have gone since then, but CEO and co-founder of Ubisoft said that Watch Dogs is an amazing achievement, and our teams should be proud that the creativity, innovation, and long hours they invested in making this game are paying off. It's great to see so many customers enjoy playing the game, and it shows that Watch Dogs has cracked the code for developing a new blockbuster IP and a thoroughly new-gen experience. So that means that it's sold more than, Assassin's Creed. What are the big titles that they have that sell really fast?
I think Assassin's Creed is their number one.
I think it is too. But do they have Rainbow Six? Isn't that one of them? Or
not? It hasn't been popular for a while.
I know, but it was back when. But yeah,
Rayman, Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell. It definitely smashed Assassin's Creed's numbers, which is surprising.
Did they Far Cry? They do Far Cry?
Far Cry, yeah. Far Cry sold really well too. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. As time goes on, how well Watch Dogs sells compared to the other ones. And I know, Lou, you had a point you were making earlier when we were talking.
Right, I made a couple of points in the article. First off, they don't say how much was actually sold or how many were sold. And also, I really don't think it's that impressive to say that it's the fastest game sold in 24 hours, seeing that it came out on 5 platforms.
Yep.
It came out on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and the PC. So splitting, I mean, when you come out on 5 platforms, and it's been something that's been talked about for 2 or 3 years now, there's no question that it's going to sell really well, at least at launch. I wonder how well the game is going to have legs and actually move past the first week.
I think it'll probably continue selling well because it's been getting good reviews, which our review will be coming the end of this weekend or early next week as soon as I can finish up playing it and everything like that. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to see how it sells because we talked about it earlier, I believe, the announcing a game so early kind of thing, and this is Watch Dogs fell victim to the announcing early and delaying the title or whatever. So a lot of people were questioning whether or not it would be a big seller or how good it would be because in the months leading up to the release, there was negativity surrounding the title and so many questions and so many haters about it. And to see that it is selling so well is kind of a surprise, but at the same time, it's a Ubisoft title, and a lot of them do sell well.
Yeah, I did my homework on this one, guys, and I'm going to spit some numbers at you really quick.
Go ahead.
If you go back, Watch Dogs, the forecast for how many copies it would sell was purely based on the original Assassin's Creed, because for some reason, Ubisoft thought it was comparable to the start of a new franchise.
Yeah,
and
new
how
IP.
it would sell for that. Yeah, new IP. So they look back, and their goal for it is 6 million copies. That's their goal. That's their goal for it.
That's like half as much as what Assassin's Creed sold.
Yeah,
that's like the latest.
Exactly. So listen to this. Assassin's Creed 3 was the biggest selling Ubisoft title ever, at least in the first week. And it had 10 times more pre-orders than the one before it, which was Assassin's Creed Revelations.
Yep.
10 times more just the pre-orders. And so over its first week, I can't find where it sold in a day, but over its first week, sold over 3.5 million units. And by the end of the year, it was over 12 million. So that 6 million copy forecast that they have might almost already be filled by now. Because if this is the biggest selling game ever in a day, it has to have sold at least over 3.5 million copies.
I was kind of thinking the same thing.
It's insane. So, wow. It's crazy.
And you know what? This is great news because I haven't played the game yet, but I already know by looking at it that I want a sequel of it. I want them to polish things and refine things and come out with, a giant, truly next-gen sequel. Because right now it's kind of that cross-gen weird stage. And even if it is a product of the environment that it came out on 5 systems, or that there hasn't been really any big AAA games within the year, it's still going to look good to the investors, and they're going to put money towards the next Watch Dogs, and that's what's important.
Well, and Ubisoft always makes a series; they don't make a game. So
right, except maybe
That's
Child
awesome.
of Light.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Children of Light.
Children of Light. Now let's move into the listener questions. We've got actually several of them this week. But first, let's touch upon Jake's, because Jake sent us 3 questions from last week, and we had so many questions that we ended up skipping them. So we'll go ahead and cover those first.
Sorry, Jake.
Yeah, we got you. We got you now.
What up, Jake City?
His first one. I don't know if this is true or not, but I read something this week about the Vita is going to be for indie games. I personally bought the Vita to play games like Uncharted Golden Abyss, Wipeout, God of War HD, Final Fantasy X, and Persona 4 Golden. So if this is true, I'm a little disappointed. What are your thoughts? I would be disappointed too. I was never an indie gamer. I've become more of an indie gamer now, since there are so many of them and so many good ones. But I also bought the Vita as my dream handheld machine, which means that I would be playing games like Uncharted Golden Abyss and Final Fantasy X and Persona 4 on it. So that would definitely be disappointing if it was true.
Let me tell you guys this. I might be in the minority with this one. I played Unit 13, which was Zipper Interactive's last game before Sony killed them.
Yep.
And that's like a third-person shooter, but it's not just third-person, because when you zoom in, it's like a first-person shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's just the genre of being a shooter, but I can't tell you, I have like 10 times as much fun playing Rayman Origins, playing Guacamelee, playing Lone Survivor, playing Sound Shapes.
I don't know how you have fun with Lone Survivor.
Well,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
maybe I don't really have that much fun with Lone Survivor, but you know what I mean.
I cried.
Like, it's just one of those things. I don't know. Like the bigger games have not done it for me. I think one of the ones that I'm going to pick up is Tearaway. I know that's more of a quote AAA game, although it's kind of like cutesy and artsy.
It's very, very much cute.
But I don't know. Like I'm somewhere in between, because I do play a lot of indie games on my Vita, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I still don't agree that there's anything else AAA-wise worth playing besides Uncharted Golden Abyss, which is a problem. Even Killzone, I heard, had its problems. It looks gorgeous, but it still has its problems. I mean, people like me, I don't want to play a shooter on the go. So
I loved Killzone on Vita. Like, I still haven't finished it or whatever.
Sure.
I played through the first several hours of it, and it feels fantastic finally having a shooter on the Vita. Now, obviously, it's different. You know, it's this little bitty screen, so you have to have it a little bit closer to your face. You have to be paying more attention, and it's a little bit different controlling a first-person shooter on a Vita because of how you have to have your hands compared to the control, like an actual controller. But it's finally a good first-person shooter on a handheld device. So it's just, I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
I think that Sony's issue with the Vita is that they just promise too much.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think that the Vita is a bad system where the Vita can't handle AAA games. They just can't handle the AAA games that Sony's trying to push out for it. I mean, the 3DS is a terrible system. Like, it's horrible hardware, but they managed to push out a ton of what they would consider AAA games for it. Or, AAA games for a handheld, but it has that qualifier that it's a, AAA game for a handheld. I think that Sony has to stop trying to give the console experience when they could deliver fantastic handheld experiences like Tearaway. Tearaway was what I would consider like a 3DS game.
But it looks a lot prettier.
Yeah, it looks a ton prettier. But it's that same kind of... it's the same kind of style of a game. It's not set out a little too grandiose like a console game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and to answer Jake's question, don't even sell your Vita. Obviously keep it. The games will be coming, of course, a lot more smaller games than big games, but it's that nasty cycle of madness, right? Like, developers aren't developing for it because the sales aren't there, and the sales aren't there, so the games also don't sell well. So it's just like this non-stop cycle of madness, basically.
But
so just I don't know.
We're also in that awkward time period right now where
Sure.
the PS4 just came out, and then there's the fact that you can companion and remote play and stuff with that.
Right.
And so like we haven't given it enough time yet since the PS4 came out to see how it's really going to affect it in the long run. Because over time, as PS4 sales go up, Vita sales will also go up because of remote play, and we're starting to see an impact in the sheer amount of Japanese games that are being localized. It was like, there were Japanese games at the beginning of the Vita's life cycle, but there weren't a whole lot. This year, there have been several announced, or the past 6 months, there have been several announced, and so like it's starting to have an impact. Now, how far or how much of an impact it's going to have, we're going to have to wait and see. So,
I think Sony's helping their cause without even really knowing that they're helping their cause. I read a comment that's very applicable to this discussion just yesterday on Facebook, and some kid said, I'm new to the whole Sony ecosystem. I actually had an Xbox 360 last gen. I now have a PS4, and I'm a member of PlayStation Plus because I like to play games online. And I've started just downloading all the Vita games that are free for Plus just because, you're kind of an idiot not to.
Yep.
And he's like, I started adding up all of the prices, at least the retail prices for the games that I've been saving the past couple of months, specifically just for the Vita. And he's like, I'm going to buy a Vita because the Vita's going to pay for itself.
yep,
And I think that's a really good way to look at it too. So,
I agree.
yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. The next question we've answered several times, so I say we just touch on it just real quick, give a one game answer or something like that, and then like a real quick reason. So, but Jake also asked, what old video game franchise would you like to see get revived and why? Like I said, we've answered this one multiple times, but phrased different ways.
Not Crash Bandicoot. I think Crash Bandicoot's a really good game, but I also think a lot of people have like a revisionist lens that they look through when they look back at that game.
Okay,
I think if that game were to come out like this year or next year, I think a lot of people might be disappointed with just how it plays and that kind of thing.
Well, it'd be similar to Knack, is what it would be.
Yeah, I guess it would. Yeah,
And I think the general population, general gamer base, would probably enjoy the game, but it would probably get critically slammed. So
yeah, I think it's a good way to put it, Courtney. Exactly. As far as an old game franchise, I don't know. There's not really any that I'm like living without.
I got one.
I don't.
Dino Crisis.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Dino Crisis would be an awesome one. I love dinosaurs.
I'd be going for my favorite Sony PlayStation series, which is Ape Escape.
Oh yes,
there you go.
That'd be awesome.
I loved Ape Escape. I even played the sequels, which no one played. But I'd love just a return to form Ape Escape because that was such a fun, wacky game.
That'd be so awesome. I think for mine, just based on hours played on my PlayStation 2, some installment of Tony Hawk's that's like legit.
Oh, yeah.
I played Tony Hawk's not Pro Skater. I played that like on the N64. Underground 2, Tony Hawk Underground 2, and like I played that forever. Oh, so good.
I played Pro Skater 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, awesome.
So much. I played them all the time. Like I just saw a tweet actually of a picture, and it had one of the skate parks from Pro Skater 2, I think, and it said, "If you don't know what this is, then your childhood sucked." And I was like,
yes,
exactly.
That's awesome. That was the first level. Oh, it's so good.
Ah, man. Good times.
Do you know what?
What?
I could also go for a DDR. I haven't had one of those in forever.
Get out.
No, I love DDR on the PS2. I spent hours with that thing.
Okay, so moving on.
Excuse me that you don't like exercise.
I don't like dancing, but of course,
So much for being a Japanese fanboy.
No, I see. Japanese fanboy, one thing. Liking everything about all the Japanese culture, no, that's a completely different thing. I just told you I don't like sushi.
Oh, that's true. You did tell me you didn't like sushi.
Okay, so Jake's last question. He says, discuss Xbox One getting rid of the Kinect. Good idea or bad idea? We actually touched on this for an entire episode, pretty much. So,
In short, good idea.
great idea.
Yeah.
Market sense. Makes a lot of market sense. Now, whether or not that's going to be great for developers and for the Kinect itself and all that remains to be seen. Probably not a good idea for that. But it may affect like Rare. Rare might go back to making actual AAA, console games and not Kinect games.
Ooh, an old game you want to see? Banjo-Kazooie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like that may have a huge impact on things like that. But yeah, it makes perfect market sense for Microsoft. They might have, like, obviously we can't tell the future. We don't know what's going to happen. But if the Kinect had stayed a requirement and things like that, the Xbox may have failed. It may have sputtered out this generation if that stayed a requirement. It may have become the Wii, over time.
Just a little too ahead of its time.
Yep, it may have just kind of fluttered, but this is going to cause that to not happen. So it's a great idea, or great move on Microsoft's part. Okay, so Dennis, as usual, Big D, big fan, sent in several questions. He asked, number one, if you could have one thing that is almost impossible to happen at E3, what would it be? Lou, go.
Oh, didn't we talk about this last year?
Impossible?
Last episode. I want the Pokemon console RPG.
Yeah, we did. We was it E3 announcements? What we want to see?
It was what would absolutely definitively
win
E3.
Yeah. Okay, so Pokemon RPG for Wii U. That's you?
Yeah. I mean, any of those different things that we said last week. I think the other one was Final Fantasy VII Remake and full HD graphics.
Yeah. Here's one I want to do. And this one comes off of both what I want and then both at the same time. Gearbox, their head guy, CEO or whatever, has talked about this several times as well. I want to see Sony and Microsoft combine. I want to see them collaborate and make one console in the future and all work together with all of their technology. Like, oh my God, the possibility is just unlimited after that. Like, I can't even imagine what could come from that. So that's the impossible thing I want to see more than anything.
Courtney just wants peace on Earth. That's all he wants.
Peace on Earth!
Piggybacking off of like what Lou said of like a favorite franchise, Dennis, I've thought about your question extensively, and here goes. You guys ready for this?
Yep.
So my favorite franchise in gaming is Infamous, and I want Sucker Punch the Con stage, and the rumor is that they have Second Son DLC, and to go, oh, by the way, you remember how we had two endings in Infamous 2 and they were very different? Yeah, we were just talking about Second Son for the past 18 months or so. Glad you guys liked it, but Cole is back, and this is Infamous 3.
Oh God!
And it comes to the market this fall.
Oh,
so I hope you guys are happy. Like, that'd be insane. Absolutely insane.
Oh, I can't. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
It would be cool.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so Dennis then asks, who is the guy you've liked most on stage at E3?
Jack Trenton.
Jack
Hands
Trenton
down.
For me too.
Hands down.
Reggie Fils-Aimé.
I knew you were going to say that.
My body is ready.
My body is Reggie. Well, I actually remember his first E3, and it was really kind of groundbreaking to see him come out and do his thing. It was a pretty shitty E3, but when he came out, it was like the first time Nintendo had ever been really personal. They used to be very professional and a black suit and this and that. Now we know them as the fun-loving company, and they give a lot of quirky YouTube videos and this and that. But when Reggie came out, he came out with his Terminator shades on, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Reggie Fils-Aimé, and I'm here to bring you games. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum." Like that kind of shit. And I loved him for that.
Yeah. I remembered, obviously I liked Jack a lot, but God, last year's E3 conference stands out so much from the rock star aspect that he went out there with. Oh man, that was awesome. Okay, so then
wait, what about the Kevin Butler? Can we give a shout out to Kevin Butler?
Forgot about that.
Big ups to Kevin Butler.
For sure. Dennis then asks, when you're watching a reveal, what do you want to see? A CGI trailer, gameplay, cutscenes, etc.? Which one?
I think you always want to see gameplay, right? You always want to see gameplay.
Most people do. I honestly don't care.
Okay.
Not like an E3 reveal or whatever. I want to see, like a dark screen, music start playing, and then a CGI trailer showing a little bit of story element to it, like cutscenes or whatever, and then just like the name pop up or whatever, and then the release date. Like, I don't care for gameplay right away. I want to see something that just gets me absolutely excited about an upcoming game. A little bit of story, a little bit of music, a little bit of voices, and stuff like that. Like, I think about the Order 1886 reveal last year. It was it's had a slow intro with some text at the top or in the middle of the screen with music playing, and then it showed London or whatever, and it was really dark. It showed a little bit of story, and then it showed like a teaser for like the creatures attacking them with these futuristic guns and stuff, and then it just went away and showed the name, and I was like, holy fuck. It's like, oh my god, I am so excited for this game. And I didn't need to see the gameplay, and I have since seen the gameplay, and I think the gameplay looks fun, but I didn't need it right away.
Specifically for this E3, I want black screen and to kind of fade up and you just hear, oh, crap. Uncharted 4.
Yeah, I was like, that's what I was thinking. I know who you're talking about just because of just what you said. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That sounds like Drake.
Yep.
I think when I want gameplay and when I want just a CG trailer, it depends on when the reveal is and what the reveal is for. If the reveal's for a game coming out in like 6 months, I want to see gameplay.
Oh yeah.
If the reveal's coming out in 2 years, then it's okay to be CG.
That definitely makes a difference. Like what was it? Ratchet and Clank was announced just a few months before it came out last year. Something like that. Yeah. Yep. It's like you don't want to just give a trailer for something that's coming out in a few months. Or a CGI trailer or whatever. Okay, so the last question from Dennis, he asked, because Sony filed for new hardware models for PS3 and PS4, do you think we will see a new model this fall with a bigger hard drive? I didn't know they filed for new models. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, I saw a story on it.
I didn't see that. I think it's safe to say PS3 will get a price drop. I don't really know what the price is, but I think there is a SKU of Xbox 360 that's only $99. So maybe something coming closer to price parity with that. I think that's hard drives like 4 or 8 gigs or something.
I think that's the one where you have to sign up for a year of Xbox Live or whatever. Also.
Yeah, something like that. But as far as PS4, can we just get this out of everyone's minds? There is not going to be a price drop this year at all.
Nope.
And if anything, it'll be like a Walmart or GameStop thing where, like, if you buy a PlayStation 4, we'll give you Second Son for free. Yeah, it'll be like kind of like a hidden one. But as far as like a bigger hard drive this fall,
no,
I don't think. I don't think so.
There's no way.
No.
The PlayStation 4 will stay the same for at least the first year and a half, at the very least. I don't think it's going to change at least for 2 years.
It makes no sense right now at all.
Yeah, they have to sell what they have. Now, obviously, there's the news about how it's now making profit on the PlayStation 4. So you could see how, like, oh, we're already making profit. Well, why not make a cheaper one or something like that, or a bigger hard drive for more money or something? But I still don't see that. Now, a new PS3, with the way Sony has made so many models of it, they might actually come out with the final PS3 version. They might come out with, like, hey, it's been a little while since we've made a new one. Here is the last one we're going to make, and it's $150, and it's 200 gigabyte hard drive space or something like that. And we're not going to come out with any more. And it's like the smallest version they're going to come out with. It's kind of like how the Xbox 360 had the Xbox One version come out right before the Xbox One actually came out. That final one, Yeah,
and I could even see them bundling in Uncharted 3 or, The Last of Us or something in it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that might be the case. Lou, do you have any thoughts on it?
I mean, I think it all matters what we see Microsoft doing, honestly. I don't think we'd see a price drop anytime soon, but I think if Microsoft's going really, really aggressively this E3 and does a super aggressive price drop on the Xbox One, then we could see some people, some of these publishers doing some crazy moves. Yeah.
Okay, so Ryan asked a question, and Kyle, do you want to sum it up? You had a good shortened version of this long paragraph.
Yeah, it's kind of like an essay. We do appreciate Ryan you sending it in, but he's basically trying to get to the point where he's played a couple games, and whether you're playing them on a high quality surround system or even through good headphones, have you ever noticed audio compression in games? And without getting too hardcore into like what I do for a living, like I edit video and I voice things like every day. Like it's like what I'm paid to do. And so I can just tell you from a technical standpoint, Ryan, whether you're cutting a story or making a review or making a video game or making music, all of that audio is compressed in some way, shape, or form. But I think what he's getting at is, have you ever heard a video game where the audio or like the atmospheric sound is tinny, kind of like that aluminum sound? I have, and it happens, I know it does, but I can't think of one necessarily off the top of my head.
Same.
But I could give you a couple examples of the exact opposite of games that I think you sound like amazing, like better than any other game that I've ever thought of in my life. And that would be the original Dead Space and The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Both of those games use sound and light in particular as well, just masterfully. But yeah, there are games that certainly lack in the audio department, that's for sure. Even like whether it's voice acting or, you know, that kind of thing too. But it does happen. It definitely does happen.
Yeah, I totally get what he's trying to say as well. But for me, it's been forever since I've heard a game sound like that. It's just, I don't know. I use high quality headphones and have a high quality TV, and I never hear that. And if I do hear something, it's normally because of one or the other. It's normally because of my headphones or my TV. And if I switch, it sounds better. You know, it's like, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't seem like it's a case anymore or a problem anymore compared to what it used to be.
Right, and he even throws in there, quote, top-notch games often don't have these problems. And Ryan, you're totally right about that. Sound is a big thing for high-quality games. I think The Last of Us would be a different game if it didn't have the ambient sound and amazing voice capture, you know? So I think, obviously, sound is a big reason why some of these games get great scores. So,
for sure. Lou, did you want to add anything? Nintendo guy?
I'm part of that group there where I really don't notice much. And maybe it's a thing because the consoles I've normally been playing on have pretty shitty speakers to begin with. I mean, I was a big DS and 3DS fan, so I might not have noticed it in the game because those speakers were notably really bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, the only times I could actually hear issues of tinny kind of speakers are the controller speakers, like the coming out of the Wii controller, or even coming out of the PS4 controller. I haven't been a big fan of how that sounds, except for in Infamous where he used it as a spray can. That sounded fine.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Lou, do you want to go ahead and just cover this one?
Sure. This one is, we're doing Mark's?
Yep.
All right. Mark asked us about pirating and how it affects the gaming community. He says, what are your guys' take on pirating and how it hurts the game community due to the fact that Wolfenstein has already been pirated over 100,000 times since its release? And this was asked just about last week, so I can't imagine what it is now. I mean, PC pirating specifically, but as a whole, it still affects the game community and companies' revenue profits for further projects. How does PC pirating hurt console gaming as well? So I'm a big anti-pirating guy. I'm so anti-used games in general, let alone pirating stolen games. But I think it's a real hit on the industry. I think anyone who pirates, I mean, I understand some people don't have money to play games. I don't necessarily have money to play all the games I want, but you're hurting the industry. You're hurting the hobby you love instead of, doing stuff. And I know you may think if you're a pirater that one game's not going to make the difference, but they add up.
Yeah, they do. I don't have a whole lot to say on pirating right now, because I first of all, I don't really look into it a whole lot, and I'm not a PC gamer, so I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. But I do understand that it really does hurt the community. It hurts the industry. It hurts a lot. But like, I don't know, I keep thinking about Game of Thrones, I believe. and how like the people behind Game of Thrones actually want the show to be pirated. Like that's how weird is that? Like they don't care. They know that people don't have HBO. A lot of people don't have HBO, and they want the show to be seen by everybody. And so, like, I remember they commented on it. I think it was last year, and they were just like, "Yeah, we know that we're the number one pirated show on TV or whatever, or on computers and stuff like that. But we honestly don't care, and we recommend it. If you have to see the show and that's the only way to see it, then go ahead and do it."
Do you know who else is like that?
Who?
And I can't believe why. CD Projekt.
CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Like for The Witcher 2, do you know how many times The Witcher 2 was pirated?
No.
4.5 million times.
Dear God.
Like think of, it's a $60 console release. Think how much money they lost by 4.5 million times 60.
That's true.
That's crazy.
And I know they're fine with it. They don't like the DRM stuff, and they don't say go ahead pirate the game, but they say that DRM and isn't the way forward, and they need to find a way to go about this. Other than that, the people who are pirating are really hurting the developers, and way more than they are the publishers. I think if you don't have the money to play the games, then save the money or whatever. It's a luxury hobby. So, yeah, this is something very near and dear to my heart. It's something that I'm actually going to be working with in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, pirating's an issue. I remember it being even more of an issue for the music industry, and kind of still is. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, everyone had Zunes and the original iPods, and going to websites like LimeWire and FrostWire and just ripping music.
Hold on, I have a problem with what you just said. People actually owned a Zune.
People were having Zunes. Oh my goodness! No, actually, one of my next door neighbors had a Zune, and it was just like so weird.
So weird.
But it's just there's a lot of math and a lot of forecasts and a lot of statistics that go into it. I'm completely 150% against pirating because you're a pirate and you're a dick, and like don't do it because like people work like their lives, like this is their livelihood, and like making this content and everything, and you're just stealing it. Like that's what you're doing. But I also find it interesting that the people behind Game of Thrones are like, yeah, pirate it because we want people to see it, and there's other people who are doing it too. Pirating and buying used games, they don't go hand in hand, but at the same time, the industry's not getting any money from you by doing it. And so there's a lot of talk about how are those people even customers in the first place? Like, would they even be in the market to buy The Witcher 2? And so there's a lot of that stuff. But if you like a game, if you like a movie, if you like music, try to support whoever made that as best as you can. And not only that, but tell your friends. Like, tell your friends about it, because that's the best way that you can help support whatever industry you like. So
yeah, and to go off of that, to piggyback off of that, another point to be made on it is that when people pirate these games or when people buy used games or things like that, that could be their intro into it. That could be what makes them in the future actually buy the next one, or actually get HBO, or actually buy a box set of a show, things like that. And so that's another argument to be made.
You want to know what I love, Courtney? Just really quick. Remember last year when the Xbox One was announced and they were having all this DRM stuff and everyone was all mad because, used games wouldn't have been a thing anymore and I can't afford games, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What I love about that, all the people yelling and screaming in the echo chamber that we live in every day are the ones that buy the used games. Yep. And so it's just so funny because guess what, little Johnny? Microsoft doesn't care about you. Like, it sounds really, really blunt to say, but they don't. Like, you don't give them any of your money. So, they don't care. They literally don't care. So it's just something to think about moving forward.
I actually never thought about that. That's really funny.
It's hilarious, oh, how can you get rid of used games? Well, because you're not even giving me any money in the first place. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's whatever.
All right, our final question is from Uraquad. I actually had to have him send me how to pronounce his name so that I could pronounce it correctly. But he asks, do you think Kingdom Hearts 3 will be shown at E3 2014? And the answer is yes, it's going to be there. Now,
I say no.
In what capacity? I don't know about that. But it's going to be there. Final Fantasy 15 is going to be there, and that's going to be the headliner for Square Enix. They've already said that they've put in like all of their resources on Final Fantasy 15. It's the most important thing. They want to get it out. And so that's going to be the headliner. It's going to be shown everywhere. But there will be an update on Kingdom Hearts 3. Whether or not that's going to be a trailer or how long of a trailer, or just an announcement, or if it's going to be during one of the Sony or Microsoft press conferences, or if it's just going to be during the Square Enix conference. It's going to be there in some capacity, but how much, who knows? You know, it's still a few years out. So
a little birdie told me Sora is going to be running around snow and ice laden Norway, and Anna and Elsa are going to pop out, and everyone's going to lose their shit.
Oh God, I can't even imagine.
Wouldn't it be crazy, dude? Like a Frozen level? Oh my God.
I say it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's
That's
not going to happen.
No, I say
Kingdom
Hearts 3. They're not going to show it until they're announcing the PlayStation 5, and they're going to show a trailer, and it's going to be an ever rotating cycle where they just announce it for the next platform.
Okay. So let's move on. Let's wrap up the podcast. For the game releases this week, we're not earlier in the week. Well, I guess we do only release on Thursdays anyway, so it's only a day later. But yeah, so by now all of these games have come out. So on PlayStation 3, you've got Watch Dogs. On PlayStation 4, you've got Watch Dogs. And on PlayStation Vita, you've got Monster Mon Piece, Mine Zero, and Sly Cooper Collection. Kyle, you want to cover all the Microsoft stuff?
Let's do it, because I'm a huge Microsoft fan. Xbox 360, Watch Dogs, and also Slender: The Arrival. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Xbox One, Watch Dogs as well, and should I just do the PC?
Yeah, that's Microsoft, so go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Watch Dogs, Final Fantasy 3, Kill the Bad Guy, Growing Pains, which, by the way, I know it has nothing to do with the TV show, but oh my God, Ashley Johnson, love Growing Pains. Monochroma, Night Squad, Among the Sleep, Strata, Where Is My Hearts? That sounds weird. The Stomping Land, and The Fall. A lot of PC games.
Yep. And our Nintendo expert.
All right, for the Wii U, we're going to have It'll Do. The important one, Mario Kart 8. Get it. Klonda, Empire of Dreams. Gravity Badgers. And Love Me Buddies Wonderland. That one's for you, Courtney.
Thank you. That's the system seller. I'm getting it now.
On the 3DS, it's very scarce this week. We're going to see Mega Man Extreme 3, which is another virtual console game from Mega May.
Mega Man?
Mega
May. Oh, I get it. Okay, I got you. All right, so that wraps up the podcast, episode 35. Thank you all for listening. Again, we changed up the schedule, so be looking out for the new podcast, and then this podcast will be on Wednesdays from now on, or at least until we go back and change our minds again, probably in 10 minutes. We always ask you to email us with questions or comments. You can email us at mong.podcast@gmail.com, and you can find us all on Facebook and Twitter, and you can find our actual Facebook and Twitter at Middle of Nowhere Gaming Mong on Facebook and at Mong Podcast on Twitter. And then you could find out the website on middleofnowheregaming.com. Where we are changing a lot of stuff, like the review score, and we have new reviews going up. So be on the lookout for our Watch Dogs review and our Mario Kart 8 review. Woo! And our, was it Conception 2? Was that the review that is being edited right now?
Maybe.
I think
I don't
that's
know.
it.
I didn't look at it.
Well, I think Conception 2, be able to look out for the Vita game. That review is going up soon. And yeah, but you can find us all on Twitter. Find me on at Osborne_2009. You can find Lou at
Lou Cantaldi.
And you can find Kyle at
WXMan Kyle.
Thank you for joining us again, Kyle. That was great.
Guys, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much for inviting me. Awesome talking with you guys again.
We will
have you
on.
Give us a shout out again.
Oh, absolutely. You know that.
For sure. So we will talk to you all again next week.
See ya.
Peace.
Mong.
See ya. Mong.
Mong.